Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another political episode. So, we are going to talk about recent events because obviously, we live in a chaotic world. So first off, I want to give my great condolences to the life of Melissa Hortman. I cannot do a video of her, and it compels me not to because I really, really, really wanted her to do a video on her. If I could see her being like the Secretary of State someday. Hey, I disagree with her a lot on major issues, but I'll tell you, what killed me was she did the right thing. At the end, her last decision, her last vote, was a vote to act for democracy, a vote for the American people, Minnesotan people. And I know people and Hortman followers and supporters will say, "Oh well, her votes are always for the people," but I'm talking about country over party, and that was so hard for her. I wouldn't say she turned on her party, but she kind of did, and she got a lot of her base upset, and because she didn't just sacrifice the legacy, the leadership she had in the DFL. She also sacrificed her life because a radical, unhinged far leftist, as far as what I'm knowing. It is very possible that he could be a conservative. It's just alleged that he was going after pro-choice, pro-abortion clinics or abortion clinics, Planned Parenthood clinics. But we're looking at his record, his whole political record's far left. And honestly, what he does right now is really questionable. But yes, it doesn't. But all I know is it's just too coincidental. She signed this vote, which resulted to the end of health insurance and healthcare coverage for illegal aliens. And now her life is gone. It shows you how broken the Democratic Party is. I'm just calling it for what it is. I don't want to politicize it. It's a tragedy, but I think it has to be talked about. So I want to give my condolences out for her. And I also want to talk about what's going on in regards to the illegal the ICE raids, which of course the left, they are going off and they're saying Trump is surrendering to Gavin Newsom. Trump is hoisting the white flag, and he's saying no more ICE raids. Well, I'm have to tell you this. They're looking very stupid. Like networks like MSNBC and stupid idiots like Lawrence O'Donnell, who, by the way, is a self-proclaimed socialist. By the way, he came out in inspirations of the teachings of Lenin and Mao, and spewing his communistic, demonic rhetoric on the MSNBC network. It is ironic why MSNBC claims to be so against fascism, but they hoist the banner of socialism and figures like socialism, like Lawrence O'Donnell. And it shows that, you know what, you're just against you can't be against evil. You have to be pro certain evil and against another evil. It's just sickening. But anyway, they're hypocritical. It doesn't matter. But Lawrence O'Donnell has a lot of explaining to do. He's melting down. He's saying, "Oh, Trump gave up. Trump surrendered to Gavin Newsom. He's letting it go. And by the way, then again, I don't know what the Trump administration was thinking in regards to stopping and pausing the deportations in regards to these farms and hotels and going into Home Depots and businesses. I think the Trump administration just wanted to create, I don't know, a pause of uncertainty, probably giving ICE and the National Guard and Marines a chance and time to kind of reorganize and regroup, because obviously these leftists are just so funny, because honestly Trump, they claim to say that Trump always chickens out, taco, and if you will, the new phrase that leftists are using is taco. Trump always chickens out. And if you actually pay attention to this administration, in which I think these leftists are, but they're just so demented to actually admit it. Trump's not checking out on anything because these mass deportations are still going. Trump's approval ratings allegedly going down. You'd think that he would stop because of that. No, he's keeping it going. So Trump is not backing down, which is good because that would just make him. This will just make him really bad. Trump promised mass deportations, and he is going to deliver it to the American people. It doesn't matter how these far-left communists want to intimidate us and scare us by these scary crowds. They want to go and pack up all the elderly boomers and their crutches and their little walkers, take them out of the nursing home, and just go on a silly No Kings protest. Go ahead, do it. You just if this is your base, old Scroogey old boomers. They want their check. They believe MSNBC and their stupid lies. They believe Lawrence O'Donnell, by the way, in which they were growing up. When they were growing up, their teachers, their parents. Oh, I wouldn't say their parents. This is the generation that totally disowned their parents, as far as I know. The society that brought them up said no to communism, no to socialism. And what do? They listen to the lies of MSNBC and Lawrence O'Donnell, or Dummel. It's ironic. And they do it because they think, oh, the news is always right. And I've mentioned this in previous videos. These older couples, these older groups, they're more likely to believe the MSNBC lies and the CNN propaganda because they are the news. Oh, they're the news. They're the news. They know the information. They know what they're talking about. They get paid to tell us the news. Oh, they also get paid to tell us whatever. They covered up the Joe Biden mental decline. Jake Tapper admitted that in a book. He actually backstabbed CNN and the mainstream liberal media too. But I don't think he really backstabbed the mainstream liberal media. I think they were going down regardless. And Tapper just jumped ship. CNN doesn't care. MSNBC cares because they're bought and sold. CNN just wants money. And they decided to get money from left-wing crowds. But obviously, I think this is good that President Trump is reversing track. We need to get these illegals out. Now, can we deport every single illegal immigrant? Well, I think we should make an effort. These leftists are saying, there's no way you can deport every single illegal immigrant. Well, we can certainly try. And we know if we didn't try, the leftists, they would still be rioting in the streets. They'll just find another issue. Guys, we had 2 major protests this year, and halfway through the year, not even halfway through the year, we had 2 major protests. The Doge protests, and when Elon Musk and his time in Doge ended, what did they do? What did these left-wing revolutionaries do? They jumped on to the next issue, and that was deportations. And this is, as you can connect the dots here, they are fake outrage. This is fake outrage, if you can quite tell. They're not mad about deportations. They want to pay cotton. And that's what they're really mad about. We're losing jobs. The economy. Things are going to go up. Well, that's because you want illegals to wipe your asses. That's quite what you want. That's what you want. So Democrats are quite actually advocating for slavery. Who would have known? Who would have known that these Dumbocrats are actually pro-slave? They can go home, get a job, and where they came from. And we accept and support immigration, but we always say it. They have to go in the right way. And they're not coming in the right way. They form a family, and now they're working I'm sorry, they came in the wrong way. If we let these group of people continue to work and in the American dream, even though they came in illegally, we would love to have them here. But I'm sorry, they came in illegally. We have to bring in the law. We have to abide by the law. That's just how it is. So absolutely, I 100% am very happy with this news that has come out over the last day. So, and the left is backtracking also. They went from now laughing at Trump to now coping and whining and crying. Trump, he doesn't care about the economy. He doesn't care about farmers. He doesn't care about cotton. Are you kidding? I know how to solve this issue about who's going to work these jobs. Easy. You. But we don't want to work these jobs. These jobs are hard. Democrats and liberals don't want to work these jobs because they're hard. You see, you take these people for granted. If you really cared about these jobs, open jobs, you would quit your job and go and work on the fields. And I 100% support it because it actually teaches them good values. It teaches them that life is hard. Life isn't fair. It's never been fair. It's not made to be fair. It's supposed to be rough. Absolutely. So if they actually care, and they don't actually care about these jobs, guys, they're just using it for talking points. But just say, hey, we have a lot of people, and also the homeless people. They can't find jobs. Here you go. We have so many jobs. In California, so many homeless people in California. The smart governor, not Gavin Newsom, the smart governor would go and say, hey, we're going to deport the illegal immigrants working these jobs, and we can have the homeless population be the replacements. But they can't do that. They can't do it because it pulls their heartstrings. And not to mention, it's a political issue, right? This is an issue to campaign on. They also want these voters to stay in America so they can get citizenship eventually. And so they can vote for Democrats. This is what they plan to do. This is their plan. So it's understandable why Lawrence O'Dumble, whatever his name is, wants to whine and cry and throw a hissy fit because Trump is doubling down on the law. It's understandable why he's doing that. And I'm very glad he is doing it. So I'm very happy that President Trump has reconsidered. And he's going back into sending ICE into Home Depots in these stores. Because then again, these are jobs. They seem to care, who's going to work these jobs? Well, I think it's ironic that you don't want American citizens to work these jobs. American citizens that were born here. Immigrants that came in the legal way. They should be working these jobs. And instead, you want people that you don't represent in Congress. People that aren't supposed to be here to work these jobs. Okay? It's just ironic. Now, I want to also talk about the more bigger news that has been erupting during the day, and that is in regards to Iran. Now, Israel and Iran, of course, are attacking each other, and apparently it is, of course, getting to the point where the United States is going to get involved. Now, what that means, I am not so sure. But what I do know is I'm going to have to tell you the hard truth. What is President Trump going to do? I do not know. He has, of course, the Air Force surrounding and occupying Iranian skies. They are pushing for Iran's unconditional surrender. And how did this erupt? Well, to add context to this, Iran has decided to break its agreement and revert to building up a nuke. So they're trying to build a nuke. The United States and Israel gave them 60 days to come up with an agreement with the United States and Israel. And that agreement had to involve no nuclear program. But it's day 61, and Iran didn't come with an agreement. So, under Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel retaliated, resulting to the destruction of the core nuclear base of Iran. This hurted Iran nuclearly. And as a result, Iran has retaliated, resulting to missile strikes going through to Tel Aviv. Israel also retaliated with missile strikes, going to Tehran, the capital of Iran. So what you have here is a war. And in case you go, oh, this war broke out of the blue. No, it's been going on for a very long time. This war has escalated since the Israel-Hamas war, or now known as the Gaza war. So this honestly is like, oh, this just happened out of the blue. No, it's been happening for a pretty long time. It's escalated, and President Trump has been put into this situation. And he has come up and said this quite clearly. Iran can't have a nuke. We know this, right? Over 80 to close to 90% of Americans agreed, according to polls, that Iran cannot have a nuke. Now, if President Trump let them have a nuke, that would be horrible, and that would destroy his political career. Okay? Now, also, 60% of Americans also say that they don't want a war with Iran. That's understandable. But, now this is the hard part. War is pretty much the last resort. And many people say war is never an option. And I'm telling you, you have to lead through peace and strength. This country has been resisting the United States since its foundation. And it's just committed to just resist the United States, resist America. This country is very different compared to our adversaries. This country right here is not an adversary. They're a tyrannical regime. North Korea is 10 times better than this. Because at least Kim Jong-un comes to us. Kim Jong-un lets the U.S. president cross the 38th parallel so they can talk face to face. Kim Jong-un, I'm not justifying him in any way, but I'm going to give him credit. At least he's trying to make the effort to make peace. We're different. We're different. But we don't want a war. But Iran doesn't seem to care. Iran just wants to blow things up because they're angry at the world. They're angry at the world and anyone that's different than them. And to understand Iran more, they're not a country. They're not a regime. They're an experiment. They are an experiment and a design. The Iranian Revolution of 1978 did not end. It's continuing to this day. To all of you stupid historians, stop saying it's ended when the Shah and the Pahlavi dynasty collapsed. Because it's still going on. The Iranian Revolution is the idea. And Iran's goal is to expand and create Shiite nations and satellites. This is their agenda. They already took Iraq. Iraq is a Shiite nation. Okay, Azerbaijan is another Shiite nation, but the problem with Azerbaijan is Azerbaijan has doubled down against Iran, and rightfully so. They are pro-Israel, being the only Middle Eastern Arab Muslim country to support Israel, unconditionally. This isn't just we'll recognize the state of Palestine. No, they don't recognize the state of Palestine. And that has made Azerbaijan a target by its Arab neighbors. And Azerbaijan is a Shiite nation. They've doubled down against Iran. Not to mention, Iran has a bunch of Azerbaijanis that want to separate from Iran to join Azerbaijan. Might be a future conflict in the future. And I'll bet you anything the United States will get involved on Azerbaijan's behalf. Now, you might think I'm sounding like a neocon. No. Because neoconservatism is the idea of getting involved in every single war that happens in the planet. John Bolton wants to get involved in every war, from the Congo to Cambodia and Thailand that's going on right now. You got, he wants to get involved in, escalate Yemen. He wants to escalate Somalia. He wants to escalate everything. And I'm just saying, look, the fact, and I'm going to say the bitter truth. Things are going to get worse. There will not be a ceasefire. There will not be a ceasefire. Don't stop thinking, oh, there's going to be a ceasefire in the Middle East. No, there's not. No, there's not. No, Hamas and Hezbollah are going to keep fighting because they're getting juicy money from Iran. They're going to keep fighting. Israel's going to keep fighting because they are afraid that Iran is going to retaliate and launch another invasion. So really, who has to go? And the answer is Iran. And no, I'm not calling for an invasion, no. But this is why you're probably looking at what you're seeing right now in the Middle East. Both of the countries are launching missiles at each other. And you're wondering, how can this end? I think Trump is, of course, he's trying to assert some dominance in Iran. He has the Air Force occupying the skies. A lot of people think that he's actually planning an invasion. And you all might be wondering, what would an invasion of Iran look like? Would it be like Iraq? I don't know. But I would tell you that regime will fall in like 3 days. It's not going to sustain itself. Iran is weak. And not to mention, the country is surrounded by everyone. That country of Iran, it's surrounded by everyone. And everyone hates Iran except for Iraq. Iraq is pro-Iranian. So, you see here, what would a potential invasion of Iran look like, you might be wondering? Well, you have the Saudis. Now, they have gotten a little cozy, but Saudi Arabia, if they have the chance to get Iran out, they're going to take it. You have the Emirates, the UAE. They're definitely going to get involved, and they would lead that coalition. Saudi Arabia and the Emirates. You have Qatar. You have Bahrain. You have Kuwait. You have Oman. They definitely can't stand the Iranians because of this little piece of land. Because Iran wants it, and Oman is afraid that someday they're going to take it militarily, and that's not going to be good because the United States will get involved like we did with Kuwait. So Oman, UAE, Saudi Arabia, they're going to be inevitable leaders. They're going to be the inevitable countries that would join the coalition, along with Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait. Syria would also get involved, I don't know. They have a civil war, so I'm not going to call Syria in. Lebanon would not get involved. Jordan would. Egypt would. Israel for sure would. Turkey and Azerbaijan would. So you have all the countries to the west of Iran, they really can't stand Iran. Maybe Pakistan would get involved. They have some disputes with Iran also. But then you have Europe. So it's everyone versus Iran. And there would be no real end in sight for Iran. There would be no, it would be over, in other words. And I'm telling you, this is a lot of, you don't really have much options. War, an invasion, a 3-day invasion would be, and I'm not taking a position in this. I don't want to invade Iran. I want nothing to do with the world. I want to make America great again. So this is not my interest. But I'm also recognize that this is not looking good. We have no options. And I think the Trump administration, and Marco Rubio, they also know that this isn't good also. Not to mention, Tulsi Gabbard been very silent towards this matter. She has been very vocal towards the first Trump administration when she was a Democrat. She's been very vocal when it comes to actually, she was very mad at Trump about killing Soleimani. Like, oh, this is going to start a war. Well, with Israel going after Iran, you'll see Tulsi Gabbard. She's basically seeing the writing on the wall. How are we going to end this? What I'm just saying is try to get Iran to capitulate. There has been alleged comments that the Iranians have been making. They're trying to come to the peace table. But I'm just saying, Iran, you haven't come up with a deal. Make a deal. Now, and this is basically to help them and force them to come to the table. Make a deal quickly. United States Navy, Army, Air Force, does not want to fly around in your silly skies. They don't want to do that. So come to the table quickly. We don't want to do this. We don't want to go into the desert again. We just left Afghanistan. We want our troops to stay home. Don't put us into that situation, Iran. Even though we would love to have you gone. But anyway, honestly, and also Iran's a country with rich history. Do you want all that rich history, those Persian temples, the Persian artifacts to be destroyed by bombs? I don't want it. So obviously, we know people like John Bolton or Lindsey Graham would love the opportunity of invading Iran and overthrowing it. Even John Fetterman saying, yeah, we need to go into Iran and overthrow them now. No. Oh, I mean, yeah, we're going to have to go in there at some point. And we do know that going into Iran would hurt Trump politically. It would not make him look good. He's supposed to be the peace president. But understandably, some things like this happen. Being the peace president means that none of this ever happens. And whether Trump was involved in Israel or not, I don't know. It's disputed. Benjamin Netanyahu said he was. Does that mean Trump was lying? I wouldn't go into that accusation. But just because he knew about it I don't know. I can tell you that's not the important thing right now. We just want this to end. We don't need an Irano-Israeli war. I mean, there's already an Irano-Israeli war. Are you kidding me? This is just a full-blown escalation, and now the United States is getting involved. So I'm 100% hoping we get... But then again, to the salty libertarians that are mad, look, we have to lead through peace and strength. Peace through strength. When Iran is given 60 days to come up with a compromise, and it's day 61, would you say, oh well, I don't want a war, or I don't want to escalate things or something like that. Okay, we won't do anything. Well, that would make Iran very happy. In fact, Iran actually thought that we would do that. How stupid of them. They actually thought that they would be like, hey, well, it's not like they're actually going to come and hold us accountable if it's day 61. Well, that's exactly what we did, because we're talking about nukes. We're not going to waste any time. And we have these salty, silly libertarians. Trump, you attacked the country. Trump, you let Bibi Netanyahu attack. You don't take Iran. Well, what do you expect? We gave them 60 days. Well, we could give them 30 days. And it was day 60 and it was over. I'm disappointed in Iran. They should have came to the table, and they acted like they had all the time in the world. But anyway, I don't support. I am trusting the Trump administration that they're going to do what they're going to have to do. And I know this is not going to start World War III. Guys, don't buy into the fake propaganda that this is going to start World War III. Because it's not. Iran doesn't have nukes. They're trying to get their nuke. Period. They have missiles. That doesn't count as nukes. I know a lot of people think they do, but they don't. And what people are really afraid of is another war. That's what people are really afraid of. Are they afraid of World War III? No. No, because World War III is not going to happen. Because, A, what would happen if we invaded Iran? Their regime would fall. They would have no time to react. Russia is not going to get involved to rescue Iran's butt. Oh, well, they need the missiles and they need all the drones from Iran. Well, no. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. They're not going to leave Ukraine to go and wipe Iran's butt. No. No, they're not going to do that. Not to mention, if they tried, the regime would be over. We would have occupied the country. Is Russia going to declare war to take... They didn't do that with Syria, and not to mention Syria was much closer to Russia than Russia is to Iran. Russia and Iran go there both ways. They flirt once in a while, but they keep their distance. Iran will say, hey, bro, you want to need some drones for your silly war in Ukraine? Sure. And Russia will say, hey, you want some money to give to Hezbollah and Hamas? Sure, bro. That's what they'll do. They're not going to go and run to each other's aid. No. North Korea actually has joined the war in Ukraine. Iran said, nah, we just want to bully Israel. So it's very unlikely that you have Russia going to into Iran's defense. In fact, Russia has come out against Iran. They say, hey, bro, you can't build a nuke. You realize what you're trying to do here? I know you're American deranged, but whatever. You can't. So Russia, their top ally, is saying, hey, you can't do this. China, same deal. You have Iranian allies saying, this isn't a good idea. So when you have your Iranian allies telling the truth to Iran, it kind of tells the people saying, hey, look, this isn't really popular, what I'm doing. So you have the left wing and libertarians and independents are boo-hoo-whining and crying. They're making noise over President Trump, trying to keep the country safe, by the way. There's no indications of actually invading Iran. I know what Netanyahu is saying when he talks about overthrowing and killing the Ayatollah. Netanyahu's just talking. Has there been any commitments of killing Ali Khamenei? Ali Amani, or whatever his name is. No. Just because Netanyahu didn't rule it out doesn't mean he's going to do it. Like everyone thinks that's a must-do thing. And if it happens, guess what? I don't know what to tell you. The United States has to do what they're gonna do. And I know Trump knows that, yeah, we don't want to invade Iran, but you see what's going on in Yemen. They're just going to keep getting money. Houthis, specifically. This war has gone on for 11 years. Wonder why? Oh, I wonder why. You have Saudis, the Qataris, the Omanis. You got all these, the Saudi coalition, they can't even take out one rebel group. It's because of Iranian funds. You have Somalia going on to 40 years. It's a hard, bitter pill to swallow. So, there comes a point where, yeah, you're gonna have, if it means stabilizing the Middle East and preventing the Middle East from blowing up, and you gotta strike the core problem. That's Iran. What you're gonna do about it? It depends. An invasion would be the best option. I don't support invasions. I don't think they're fun. I don't think there's something to look forward to. I think they're dark. And uncertainty, right? And I definitely don't want to nation build. If we're going to invade Iran, I want to go in there 3 days, we're out after that. Go in there, stay there for 3 days. We leave. We're not sitting there meeting the opposition, shaking their hands, and helping them win these silly elections. No, we're kicking out the regime. We leave. We leave. We let them rule their own country. We aren't sitting there building up. And if there are rebel groups inserting out of the air, okay, whatever. We leave. We leave. We don't have to fight them. So do I support an invasion? I support President Trump's reasoning and Secretary Rubio's reasoning. If there's another way forward, then I absolutely would support it. But I personally believe that, coming from my knowledge, nothing's going to get better unless Iran's gone. Unless the regime is gone. But anyway, what do you guys think in regards to this video? Let me know down below. And as always, I'll see you all in the next political episode.